Alrighty, people. Hopefully you've had a
Yeah.
fantastic end of your weekend, and it's about to finish off with a bang. We've got some mock drafts. Bang! From downtown.
Chitty, bang, bang.
Sorry.
Come on, baby.
We've got some mock drafts for you guys today, and we're excited to be with you. I'm going to also... Okay, so we're going to do a sleeper mock draft. Start 9, 1 quarterback. We have a light goal today of 65. If we reach that, we'll do a second mock draft with all of you, and we'll get a bunch of people mocking with us. Now, I will also, because we had a comment on our recent live stream, people wanting us to do an ESPN mock draft. So I will personally jump into an ESPN mock draft, and we'll go back and forth between them. Just to clarify, guys, we're not anti-ESPN whatsoever. If you draft on, honestly, just play fantasy football. I don't care where you're doing it. If you're on ESPN, Sleeper, if you're on Yahoo, like, just play. It's fun. I don't care where you're playing it. Just play it. NFL app, I don't care. The only reason we draft on Sleeper is because we feel like it's the only app that consistently updates, that consistently gets better. It's the best user experience. So that's just a little clarity there. But we are going to be doing some mock drafts today on Sleeper. Like I said, also, I'll do one on ESPN for you guys. Because as we've talked about in depth on this channel, your format is everything. Your format should determine exactly how you draft, right? So we're going to go ahead and send out a link for you guys to join today's mock draft. Now, question, Badaki, can you tell people how they can join today's mock draft?
Yeah, guys, join our Discord. That link is in the description. That link is also in the chat. Join our Discord. Go to the Fantasy Link tab with the orange footballs. Go to announcements. That's how you can join each and every mock draft for the foreseeable future, period. Just in general. So join that mock draft. We'll send that link right now. It is first come, first serve. So keep that in mind. And I'll send that link out right now. Let me come here.
Yeah. So Badaki's going to send that link out
now
in the announcements tab. So it will be first come, first serve. Friendly reminder. We are raffling off 4 spots in our follower leagues this Thursday night. If you want to get into a follower league, you have to be a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I just put a direct link in the chat. It's also in the description. Again, a yearly Mother Flocker member with the code LAND. Once you sign up, DM me on Discord, drop a comment on YouTube, whatever. We'll make sure you get into the raffle that ends on Friday to get into a redraft league with us. But here we go. This first mock draft is a 1 quarterback PPR.
Come on.
Tight end. Let's do no tight end premium because I feel like that's most leagues anyway. So we'll do no tight end premium. But what we'll do is we'll do a start 9 just to clarify. Okay, 1 quarterback PPR, no premium, start 9. Start 9 meaning 3 flex spots. All right, so you can start 9 offensive players, no kickers, no defense. And let's go ahead and start this thing off in 3, 2, 1. And while that is about to pop, for all the ESPN people out there, I know there's quite a few people drafting on ESPN. I am going to find a mock draft to put myself into for you guys. So let's find a 12-team snake.
Ooh, Bijan going there.
Where's the snake draft for you guys? Let's see where we got. Beginner snake. Okay, we'll do that. We'll jump into this one. All right. For all the ESPN people out there, I'll do that for y'all. Okay, so the first 6 picks, we get CMC, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Bijan at the 104, Chase at the 105, Amon-Ra at the 106. So you are... This is a conversation I've had with a lot of people in our comment section, but Aki, while you've been away.
Yep.
I do currently have Ja'Marr Chase over Amon-Ra St. Brown. A lot of people have taken it as disrespect. They've been upset about it. You know, they've been furious that I'm doing it. I don't know why they feel that way. I think they're both in the same tier for me. I feel great about drafting either of those names. My reply to people is I think it's recency bias why people get upset about that, because we saw Chase average over 20 points per game just a year ago before Burrow got injured. So I think it's a little ridiculous, but how do you feel about that before I make my next pick?
No, I feel the same way. You know, every single year it feels like Joe Burrow has been injured, and then this past year, or in 2022, Ja'Marr Chase did miss 5 to 6 games. So I just think there was a lot of things that didn't go right for both of those guys, and that's exactly what you want to see here. So I'm Ja'Marr Chase over over Amon-Ra St. Brown. As much as I love Amon-Ra, I'm always going to be taking Ja'Marr Chase there.
All right, so I totally agree with you. I'm like they are in the same tier. I don't mind which way you go, but I
Sure.
agree at the moment I do have Chase above Amon-Ra. I just think there's a higher ceiling. I think if either of these guys lead the league in receiving touchdowns, I think that will be Ja'Marr Chase, right? If they connect, I think that will be Ja'Marr Chase who actually leads the league in receiving touchdowns. As far as like upside between the two names, you can't go wrong in my
Sure.
opinion. Both are really great options. I think specifically in non-PPR leagues, Chase should be the pick, whereas Amon-Ra obviously is just getting those reliable targets over the middle of the field. But I'm at the 12 spot. Now, I've talked heavily about round 2 anchor RB strategy. It's my favorite strategy this year. However, I have to take advantage of what's available to me. And I've said this so many times on our channel, and I've replied to so many of your comments. You guys have been awesome. But the reality is, your strategy should be determined by the draft board. It should be determined by how many starters are in your league, how many members are in your league, who's available on the draft board. I will never, ever, ever force a strategy just because I want to do a specific strategy. I will always take what makes sense based off of my draft spot. So in this scenario, I felt like Gibbs and Barkley were the best available players. I didn't want to force a a wide receiver over one of those names. So don't let, a specific strategy force the way that you draft. Maybe the 12 spot isn't going to work for anchor round 2 running back, although Badaki is starting to look like you're taking my strategy there, which is great. I love to see that. I mean, not that you wouldn't have done that normally.
And this is kind of what I was saying earlier when we first started mock drafting. I was saying it feels like I had to take a running back in either the first or second round. And I think we kept arguing. Like, obviously, I've been away, right? So we kept going back and forth. You were saying, I think it's really heavy wide receiver. But the fact that you're coming around to you getting a running back either in the first or second round, I'm assuming, and then RB, I guess it can go any way. That was always my argument. And I haven't watched. I don't know the data because I haven't watched the video since, once again, I've been on holiday. So I love that it's all kind of coming together.
Yeah, definitely take some time today and catch up with those videos so we can be on the same page with that kind of stuff. But yeah, absolutely. Strategy's changed. Lots of research has been done since you've been away and on holiday and everything. So I'm excited for you to watch that. All right, so Travis Kelce felt like a little bit early to me. I don't know about you, but that felt significantly earlier than I would have taken Travis Kelce this year. It feels significantly earlier than ADP. And there is no tight end premium in this format either.
No, and I think this is kind of what people would potentially start to revert back to, is taking either Travis Kelce or potentially the Sam Laportas, because last year Travis Kelce was a top 5 pick in the draft.
He was a first
quarterback
round.
league.
He was a first round.
I mean, we definitely seen him go really early last year. And I think that's what people are hoping and expecting to bounce back. He started off the year with an injury. He's probably playing with that injury all throughout the season. And he was going in and out of games. Obviously, the Chiefs kind of lent more on defensive games. So I think they're really hoping that Travis Kelce is going to be bouncing back and having a big bounce back this year. Whoever took him out here at the 104.
Feels too high to me, specifically with ADP. I don't expect Kelce to go until the 3rd round in any draft this year, but I could be wrong. Was Laporta your pick there, or was that an auto?
No, I had him on Q. So I was just looking around whoever else had him.
Catching up on the chat. What's up, Steven? He says, we've waited long enough. What's up, 369? Yes, so recently there is some news about Puka Nacua dealing with an injury. We'll stay tuned to that. Doesn't sound seriously important, We've also got Xavier Legette, who's dealing with an injury at the moment. So we'll monitor that. Anyone else with injuries that we got to monitor?
Lamakonki, I think, got injured again, if I'm not mistaken. This past week.
Dealing with an injury. He's been healthy through most of OTAs, rookie OTAs, training camp. So we'll have to monitor that as well. Obviously, with him going down with an injury, we'll have to see how serious it is, as well as Justin Herbert going down with an injury. My hope in all these scenarios is just that these guys become even lower in ADP. Right? They're way easier to draft in ADP.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what's most likely going to happen. I think a lot of people are going to start to panic when you hear these guys getting injured. Maybe one of these players are going to be missing weeks 1 or 2, and then their ADP is going to be dropping, and there become values. As we see that every single year when it comes down to some of these players going into the year. So a lot of panic, but you can't panic, you can't overreact. You have to keep your, a cool head coming into the first couple weeks of preseason, because we are going to see a lot of injuries.
Yeah. All right, so in the third round, we got Debo, Olave, Pacheco, Ayuk, Laporta, Waddle, Kupp, DJ Moore, Jacobs, Allen, and White. Now, what I would say is not to pound on J-Mac, but the point of these mock drafts is hopefully for all of us to get better. If I'm on the edges, guys, I'm always reading the boards. So what does the player need, or what are they likely to pick when they're next to me? I am going to take Stephon Diggs here, but just like as a moment, if this is helpful for you guys, if J-Mac was between a receiver or a running back, maybe he was going to go running back regardless. Then probably the better move there was to grab a wide receiver. I've already started my draft with 2 running backs. I'm unlikely to draft a third before my wide receiver 1. So maybe that's helpful. Maybe it's not needed to be said, but we're all learning. Even Badaki and myself are learning as we go. And this is beautiful. This is exactly where I want Malik. The 4th round is perfect. I was hating that he was getting into the 2nd, early 3rd, but if I can get Malik Nabers as my wide receiver 2, Diggs is my wide receiver 1, I feel very, very good about that start thus far. And, I've been team Nabers all offseason. I've said this many times. I got roasted for it many times. I have Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison in the same tier as talents. And so far, we got to see them play on the field, but so far, every day is a new Malik Nabers highlight. Every day is a new report that he is balling out. He's the best player on the field every single day. It's great to hear.
Yeah, and to be fair, he is the most talented. He's the rookie. He's the most talented player on that team. Period. Yes. So I'm excited for Malik Nabers. So I cannot wait. In a Brian Daboll's offense, you think of Stephon Diggs and what he was doing those past couple of years with Josh Allen. Obviously, quarterback play is different. But, the ceiling feels like unlimited. The sky's the limit for Malik Nabers coming into this year. Jalen Hurts, Trey McBride, DK Metcalf, and Devonta Smith off the board there.
Smith, man. I got a video coming out tomorrow morning for you guys. Tomorrow midday on Devonta Smith. I am very, very excited for you guys to watch that video. Hey, I'm about to be up here on this ESPN mock draft. Again, to all of our ESPN people, I'm doing this for you. I don't really enjoy drafting on ESPN. It's not a good format. It doesn't look good either, but I'm doing it for you guys. So in an ESPN mock draft, now you can't see it on the left side of the screen, but they have a start 7 as their standard, meaning you start 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. It's a very, very small starting lineup. So in that lineup, I am going to prioritize running backs over wide receivers. I'm going to get 2 running backs probably off the bat straight away, and then I'm going to pump wide receivers for the next couple rounds. I might even look at an elite quarterback or an elite tight end ahead of some of those wide receivers. Again, format is everything, and also the ADP of where you're drafting is everything. But it looks like I'm going to be able to start this draft with Jahmyr Gibbs. They have A.J. Brown there, though. I am going to go ahead and draft A.J. Brown here. Let the board fall to me. So we go Gibbs, A.J. Brown, and I'll see you guys at the next pick. Let's get back to the sleeper draft. You took Tank Dell at 408.
Yeah, Tank Dell the 4 right there. I know I'm getting Nico Collins, in the second rounds, but trying it a little bit differently here today. I love Tank Dell as well. You know how we feel about these Texans wide receivers. I think Tank Dell, they're all going to be eating, but Tank Dell is also very safe and the lowest ADP currently on Sleeper, so I'm really happy with the pick.
Vikes for Life says, thank you for doing ESPN. I wish my home league would switch to Sleeper, but they won't. Hey, you know what? I've done this before, but feel free to send this link to your home league. Just like this time code, this link. Hey, guys, I get it. It's scary. It's scary. Change is scary. I can promise you, you can come to my channel. You can yell at me. If you switch to Sleeper and you guys don't like it, come yell at me. Leave a hate comment on every video we ever drop. I promise you, it will be the best thing you do for your fantasy league, switching from ESPN to Sleeper. Quick. And by the way, we have no benefit to this. Like, Sleeper's not paying us
not at all.
Yeah. But the reality is, ESPN's app hasn't updated in like a decade. Sleeper's app updates every single week, and it's the best user experience you can possibly have. So, come on.
The fact that you can't see the board on ESPN is still so frustrating.
I know, right? How is there no draft board? That's insane. You can go to pick history, but how is there no draft board? Like, what era are we living in?
All right, I want a Joe Moneybag Mixon there. I was hoping for one of those running backs to come back. Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, but it's okay. I'm going to continue to pivot. I think I can get a running back maybe in the 6th round. I'll take Amari Cooper here.
All right, Amari Cooper off the board. He feels like such a safe pick. You know, he might not be like the sexiest pick in the 5th round that you can make, but he just feels safe. He just feels safe, 100%. Secure. It's like your favorite fast food. You know, you're like, all right, I'm not gonna experience something new tonight, but I'm gonna experience something I can rely on. You know.
Let me just get a 10-pack with sweet and sour sauce every single time.
Exactly. What was the best food you had when you were in Brooklyn?
By far pizza. Well, first of all,
yeah.
Actually, let me take that back. My grandma's food, number one. But second, it's pizza. It's pizza, right? Like, oh man.
Are you a Joe's guy? Are you a Joe's Pizza guy, or is that like?
Nah, I'm a Pino's. I'm a Pino's guy. There's like a local spot by my grandma's house. I've been going there for years. It's called Pino's. Shit's bomb. Shit is fire. Like,
yeah. I
probably had that, I don't know, 5 to 6 times in the 2-week span I was there.
Damn.
Like that. That's a lot of. Yeah, it's so good. I love it.
All right,
I didn't have Chick-fil-A though.
Sorry?
I did not have Chick-fil-A, unfortunately.
Wow, are you trying to fight me right now?
We just have another opportunity, which is great.
That's true. We are going to be in Austin for a fantasy football related event here in a couple weeks. I'm going to take Terry McLaurin as my wide receiver 3. I don't typically like to trust rookie quarterbacks, but it all depends on how high I have to draft that receiver. For example, DJ Moore, I got to take him at the 308. With Terry McLaurin, I can take him at the 512. And if Jaden Daniels does come out of the gates as a superstar, then I'm feeling pretty damn good about that. With my next pick, I think I'm going to play a little bit of safety here with that wide receiver room. I got Neighbors, McLaurin. That doesn't feel that safe, so I'll go Kirk at the 6-1, take a little bit of the safety route. And I'm about to be back up on the clock here in ESPN. I'm a couple picks away. And what we want to prioritize here is running backs with these next picks. And honestly, in a start 7, I might be someone to take the first quarterback off the board in this format as well. So let's have a look. In the 3rd round on ESPN, we had Mike Evans, Metcalf, Cook, London, White, Pittman. Achane lasts to the round 3 in ESPN, by the way, which is very, very surprising. So I am about to be on the clock there as we see Montgomery off the board in the sleeper draft. Let's have a look at some targets here. Josh Jacobs. I could get Josh Jacobs here. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is going to be easier than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, so Jahmyr Gibbs, AJ Brown, you're most likely going to go JJ there. Who else? How many wide receivers start you said? Okay,
you
three.
Can only
three
start
wide
3.
Receivers.
It's a ESPN leagues, man, are so small. At least like the standard one, the start 7.
Yeah.
But I'm about to be on the clock here, and I think I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. I will take Josh Jacobs here. We'll take Josh Jacobs, and then he'll be our RB2. We've got Gibbs, Jacobs, AJ Brown, and again, in a start 7, it's so small. It's so easy to draft here. And then we're going to take Alvin Kamara and make him our flex. And that's perfect because now on the comeback, shout out to Kim K, when we get up to our next pick, we can focus on quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers, whoever's the best player available. It's just so easy to draft on ESPN, these standard start 7 leagues. But here on Sleeper, we saw Kirk, Monty, Keenan, Godwin, Kittle, Deontay, A-Rich, Stevenson off the board. So you took Stevenson as your RB2. You know, I don't know if you've gotten through your projections yet. I know you've been on holiday, but how do you feel about this offense? You know, how do you feel about Ramondre? Is he like the one that you're trusting? Are you concerned at all about the offense? Or is it just like it couldn't get worse than what it was last year?
Yeah, and that's exactly how I feel. I don't see how it can get worse. You know, they invest in the offensive line. They have Drake May, a new offensive coordinator. They have other weapons around. So it just felt like there was nobody on this team. So every time they were just bullying Mac Jones, they were stacking the box. They were just full on attack. But now they have other weapons outside. Demario Douglas on the outside. Jalen Polk here as well. You have Ramondre Stevenson, this long-term contract, and now Drake May, who yes, it is a rookie and is most likely going to be difficult his first year. But Stevenson, you hope there's going to be dump-off passes, goal line opportunities. They don't have anyone else on this team, right? I mean, there's no one else behind him. He gets a long-term contract extension.
We got Antonio Gibson. Come on, baby. Let's go, Antonio.
I feel, come on. I feel, you know how I feel about Antonio. I feel pretty confident about Ramondre Stevenson.
I'm joking.
In that role. But yeah, look, it's especially getting him here at the 6A. I don't even know what running back he is off the board there.
Aaron Jones in the 7th round is chaotic to me. That is absolutely chaotic to me that you can get Aaron Jones that late. I'm going to take so much Aaron Jones if he's going to be in round 7. That's wild to me.
Yeah, so Stevenson's RB20 off the board, by the way.
Okay, so that makes Jones 22.
Yeah.
Hey guys, do us a favor, hit that like button. We got a goal today of 65 likes, and if we reach that goal, we'll pop off a second mock draft for you guys. We'll get a whole new group of people in here to join us and to practice for their leagues. So do us a favor, smash that like button. We're already at 30, so we're about 35 likes away from reaching that goal. With your help, the math checks out. There's enough people in here. We can reach that goal together. Here on ESPN, I am on the clock in 5 picks from now. And the great news about not drafting with y'all is I can start to queue up some names that I want to target with this next pick. All right, Kyle Pitts, Evan Ingram. Oh, wow, look at how far Dalton Kincaid is on ESPN. That is insane. ESPN has Ferguson and Njoku ahead of Dalton Kincaid. Y'all. Holy moly. Sign me up for an ESPN league. Deadass. Sign me up for an ESPN league.
Get it going. Go on. Get it going. $200 league ESPN. We can do it.
Bro, I want to be in an ESPN league where no one knows me and we can just draft and take advantage of how bad the draft board is. Okay, so Worthy goes, McConkey, Brooks, you go Watson, Brian Thomas, and I'm on the clock in this ESPN league. So we are going to go ahead and try and prioritize the quarterback position here. We're going to draft Kyler Murray, what I perceive to be someone who has top 5 upside. Then on the comeback, shout out to Kim K, we're going to try and lock up Dalton Kincaid here or Kyle Pitts. The ESPN ADP makes it look like it's very doable. So let's just wait and see if that's actually a possibility. But you went Watson, Brian Thomas, JSN, Addison, Zamir White, Roma Dunze off the board. And I am going to be on the clock in a second, and we will make a pick, obviously.
Yeah.
But I am back up on the clock on ESPN, and I get to draft Dalton Kincaid here. What round is this?
That's an easy pick.
It doesn't even show us what round we're in. Okay.
Well, I'm drafting Dalton Kincaid. 6, right? Okay. Is it around 8? No, you're around 8.
1, 2,
9.
3,
Am I tripping?
4, 5, 6. No, this is the 6th round. I'll take Kincaid there. I'll show you guys my starting lineup in a second. I'm going to make my picks here on the Sleeper app. And we will take DeAndre Swift here. And we will also go to the wide receiver room. It's about to get naked here. And we'll take DeAndre Hopkins. We'll bet on DeAndre Hopkins long term. We'll wait on him.
Yeah.
But just to recap over here on ESPN, right now we've got a lineup. Remember, start 7. You can see it on the left-hand side here. All right, we got Kyler Murray in round 5. All right, Jahmyr Gibbs was our 1st round pick. Josh Jacobs was our 3rd round pick. A.J. Brown was our 2nd round pick. Then Kincaid and Kamara. And the reason that we're going this route is because we only have a start 7 league. We can stack up on wide receivers later on. In a start 7, I am prioritizing running backs. It's all about your format. But that to me, I don't know how you guys feel. That to me feels like an absolute monster of a lineup. Like start 7. I don't know how I don't make the playoffs with that league. Now, clearly, all my players could get injured.
Yeah.
But that feels like a really great start in ESPN.
No, it's a great start. Phenomenal start there for Zach. And then we see Najee, Tony Pollard, CJ Stroud, Javonte Williams there. I was actually hoping for DeAndre Swift to come back to me as my RB3, but that's okay.
We were on the same wavelength there.
Yeah.
Catching up with the chat, by the way. Daniel says, why is Kincaid so low on ESPN? You and I are asking the same question, my man. We are asking the same exact question. Actually, I think I'm about to be back on the clock here in ESPN. So let me make this pick. Still got some great receivers available to us. Jaden Reed is available down the board. Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas. Wow, I'm probably going to get Jaden Reed as my wide receiver 2 here. Or Tank Dell. This is wild.
That's hot. Get both of them. All right, so we got a little run of running backs here in the 8th round on Sleeper. I'm gonna go with the natural stack here. I already took Jamar Chase at the 1-5. I'll take Joe Burrow here.
We are just update over here. We're gonna take Tank Dell as our wide receiver 2 in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th round. Tank Dell round 7 on ESPN, Badaki. Tank Dell round 7 on ESPN.
I took him here around round 4.
408, right? Yeah. And that's probably where he should go. And I bet you on the comeback here, shout out to Kim Kate, we're going to be able to get some Jayden Reed as our wide receiver 3. Jayden Reed's going to be sitting on my bench in an ESPN league. Jayden Reed's going to be riding my bench.
Where he went, around 9? Oh, no, around 8, Jayden Reed?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Round 8.
Yeah, he went around 5 here on Sleeper, 5'10".
Yeah. I'm actually going to make a video this week. If you guys are on ESPN, I'm making a video this week called basically like something like take advantage of ESPN drafts, how to draft well on ESPN, and then also for Yahoo. Those are the 2 biggest platforms. So we're going to make a video for both of those platforms this week. If you're playing on Yahoo, ESPN, then watch out for those videos upcoming. But in a start 7, we've got a starting lineup of Kyler Murray, Gibbs, Jacobs, A.J. Brown, Tank Dell, Dalton Kincaid, Alvin Kamara in our flex, and Jayden Reed on our bench. He could start over Tank Dell if Dell doesn't come out hot. And there are still so many good receivers available in a ESPN mock draft. But sorry to take away from the sleeper one. That's for our ESPN folk. We got Najee, Pollard, Stroud, who falls quite far here. Javonte, Warren, Singletary. You went Joe Burrow in the 8th round to stack Chase. Kyler at the 809 is insane. Zach Moss, Dak Prescott, David Njoku, Jamison Williams, Tajay Spears, Jake Ferguson, Curtis Samuel, and you go Trey Benson at the 905.
Yeah, Trigger Trace getting my RB3 in motion there. Hopefully in the second half he probably takes off, and that's exactly what I want when James Conner, is going to miss some time. Hopefully.
Yes.
I mean, well, hopefully for Trey Benson.
No, we don't want him to miss time, but
we don't want him to miss time, but yeah,
he's probably going to.
Yeah.
All indications are
it's running backs.
Very likely. All right, so we see Tajay off the board, Trey Benson, Brian Robinson, Jerome Ford, and I'm back up on the clock here in ESPN. By the way, guys, so we've already got 3 running backs. We've got 3 wide receivers. I'm gonna take an upside pick here, and Brian Thomas Jr. And we're going to come back to the running back room, and we're going to hit a little Gus Edwards in the 10th round. Oops. Did it let me? Oh, I'm not on the board yet. That's why.
I mean, that's another bad thing about ESPN. People only mock like the first 4 rounds, and they just leave.
Yeah, that's true.
They just go on auto, and like there's no respect in ESPN mock drafts, which is annoying because it just maybe if they actually they want to get like the first 3 or 4 rounds in, and then they're gone. So I took my quarterback 1 at the 912. That's Jordan Love, top 5 finisher last year, going into his 2nd season with a bunch of young receivers. If I am going to go late quarterback, he's one of my favorite targets this year. We've got 3 running backs already on the board that we really, really like. But to be honest, guys, I feel like I would be forcing we'll grab Dallas Goedert here in the 10th round. I'm fine with Dallas Goedert as my starter. Clearly not the ideal starter. I'd rather have Andrews or Porta or Kincaid or Ingram or one of these top names. But to get him in the 10th round, I'm fine with him being my starter. Last 5 years in a row, he has been a top 12 points per game scorer. He's a part of a very good offense, so we'll go ahead and grab him there. But again, just to recap on this ESPN league, I'm about to be on the clock again. Guys, if you're in a standard ESPN league where you start 7 players, please take advantage of the ADP. Watch out for a video that's coming out here soon for you guys, because it will be well worth your time. We're back on the clock here, and we'll go ahead and draft Blake Corum as an upside pick. And then at wide receiver, we're going to draft Curtis Samuel in the 12th round. 12th round Curtis Samuel as our wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ESPN is too easy. I'm telling you guys, ESPN is too easy. ESPN is too easy. Come on, talk it up. Hey, Shakira.
Shakira. The reality is with the Buffalo wide receiver room, we haven't talked about it much, but just to be
still a
like
big
very
line.
clear, I am totally in on whoever you want to draft, and
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like whoever you want to draft in
I
that
think the
Buffalo wide
best
receiver room,
price.
take them.
Yeah, the best price is definitely Curtis Samuel, Shakira. I mean, Keon Coleman obviously going a lot earlier, and, nearly being a first round pick here in this past year's draft. And, he's getting a lot of good, reps and talks in the community right now, especially on the Twitter sphere, having good practices. So, but I mean, so is Curtis Samuel, and so is Shakira. I think this is definitely going to be a spread offense coming into this year, and we're going to have spike games from all these guys. So, we'll wait and see.
Catching up with the chat. What's up, Mighty Booch? 369 says you're abusing that team. We're already back on the clock here in ESPN. I'm gonna go ahead and let it ride out. All right, I'm gonna let ESPN take care of the rest of that. But that was for all my ESPN folk. Okay, I hope that's helpful. You know, if you guys want me to pop into another one, let me know in the chat. I'll pop into another ESPN mock for you. But yeah. Catching up with the chat here. Ooh, Daniel says I would go Christian Kirk at wide receiver 2 over Dell 100%. That's fair. That's fair.
All right, take Rico. Nice.
Rico Dowdle off the board.
Loving the draft.
Colada says thoughts on Drake May. Tough training camp. Overall, I think Drake May is someone that we didn't expect to start week 1, and is someone we still believe in long term. I think he's a very talented player. I'm going to give him some time to figure it out in the NFL. And we
definitely seen, and I think we definitely seen players and rookie quarterbacks or just quarterbacks in general saying it's going to be a tough year for them. I mean, just go back to last year to Baker Mayfield. Remember how Baker Mayfield couldn't complete a pass apparently in training camp, and he finished as a top 10 quarterback. He had Mike Evans finish as a top 12 wide receiver. Like he was getting it throughout the season. So try to take it with a grain of salt, but definitely have your own discretion when it comes down to these reports as well, and keep that in mind.
We're going to take Zach Charbonnet here, and if you haven't watched my most recent video that dropped on the channel, I'd encourage you to go do so. We are a big fan of Zach Charbonnet and really the entire Seahawks backfield at ADP. I really like. I love Zach Charbonnet this year in drafts. I love Ken Walker in drafts. Like Ken Walker a year ago, 2 years ago was like the hotness. He was like the guy's like, oh, I got Ken Walker on my team. And now it's just like vanilla ice cream. People are like, all right, I'll take. All right, you know, that's okay. You don't got sprinkles, that's fine. I'll take.
Yeah, he didn't have the sprinkles. Yeah.
But I'm fine with it, man. I think Ken Walker's he's the perfect pick if you are going to go wide receiver heavy in the first 2 rounds. So I'm a big fan of Ken Walker this year. Go watch the video. He is one of 2 running backs that fit 4 criteria that I'm looking for this year to be a breakout league-winning running back. So go check that out. But yeah, catching up with the chat. Casey says, Badaki trying not to say something nice about Keon. It just slipped out. We know.
Love I said something nice.
Mighty says, Curtis Samuel's back with his old OC. Yeah,
yeah.
We're very pro Curtis Samuel on this channel. We definitely like him as an option.
All right, Slick Ricky Pearsall off the board.
Mighty says, news all over the place with JJ McCarthy too. One quote from McConnell says JJ and Darnold are neck and neck. Other reports say JJ is awful. Yeah, this is the thing, guys. Like, to be honest, I don't think any of us should form strong opinions on any player based off training camp alone. But certainly not based off of like one training camp video, certainly not based off of one training camp report. Like, don't let that completely shape the way you're going to draft this year. I got a video coming out tomorrow, and I would say like the changes that happen this offseason are more important than training camp hype or anything. So watch that video coming out tomorrow. But yeah, definitely don't let one. I mean, like, for example, there's a report today that Xavier Worthy caught 4 touchdowns or something. Now, if you actually go watch the videos of those touchdowns, the defense isn't even trying. Like, it's so obvious the defense is not even trying. So, like, how reliable is that? Like, the safety is literally, like, watching Xavier catch the ball. Like, yeah, you got this, man. You can catch it, you know? Like, not even giving an effort on defense. So, we shouldn't really be relying too much on any report right now out of training camp.
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely take it with a grain of salt. and be smart about it. Don't overblow. And I would say whatever source you're also using as well. I think a lot of beat writers love to praise and then completely trash players. So tomorrow when Xavier Worthy has 4 drops, had a terrible day, man. I don't know. I'm just not sure if Xavier Worthy is ready.
Here's the thing as well, right? Beat writers, they play fantasy football, okay? And I'm not going to say that like this is every beat writer. I don't want to throw every beat writer in the bus, okay? They play fantasy football and they're well aware of what's going to get likes, what's going to get engagement on Twitter, what's going to get reposts and everything in comments. And now that Twitter is monetized, you have to be just very careful what lens you view Twitter through now, because it's very, very dangerous, right? Very dangerous. I mean, people know that their accounts, their livelihood is benefiting based off of likes, so that might impact something. But shout out to a beat reporter from Cincinnati. I wanted to get some clarity on this running back room because he put out a tweet and says Chase Brown got the majority of run reps. Now, a lot of people are reporting this, so I just replied. I said, hey, can you clarify Zach Moss's role? I'd love to just know, you know, is it truly like Chase Brown's season, or is it more like they're both getting opportunities? And he replied, very kind of him to take time out of his day. Shout out to Mike Petrogalia, I think, with the Bengals. And he said both running backs are with the ones. Okay, so that's just a side note. I think it's important for us to know that both running backs are working with the ones. It's not just Chase Brown. Now, that might mean we should be drafting Zach Moss later, and we should be drafting Chase Brown earlier. They should be going closer in drafts, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is like Chase Brown's job per se, if that makes sense. So very, very important to view it through the right lens. All right, Bucky Irving comes off the board here.
What are you thinking at this turn?
At this turn, I'd like to get a high upside tight end since I didn't prioritize one earlier, and to me that's Ben Sinnott. So we'll grab Ben Sinnott at the 13-12. We've got 4 running backs here. And we will grab Kendre Miller. I think earlier in the offseason he was going like round 10, round 9. So to get him in the 14th round, I'll totally take a shot on that.
Okay.
Casey says Hawks O-line looking a bit smelly in training camp. Helps Sharps because he's a better pass protector. Yeah, I think they're both really, really fun picks, Casey. What's your opinion on Worthy, Fatal says. I think this is where I stand. He's clearly the fun pick to make in this offense. But if you're telling me I can choose one of those names in Kansas City, I am going to choose Rashee Rice. It doesn't sound like there will be any suspension this year. So that's how I'm viewing it. Like if I have to choose one name, I'm probably going to choose Rashee Rice. I think Hollywood Brown's a fine pick. I think Xavier Worthy's a fine pick, but he's just going a little too high for my liking. In 2 wide receiver sets, I think at least half of the season, we're going to see Rice and Hollywood as the starters in 2 wide receiver sets. So that is something to consider.
Yeah, I think we need to readjust our expectations with Xavier Worthy because there was a lot of talks coming in about what if Rice is going to get suspended? What if Rice is going to miss some games? That doesn't look like it's going to be happening this year. And if it is, it might happen in the second half of the season where Rashee Rice is already established. He's most likely going to be the number 1 guy where Xavier Worthy then steps into that role. So I would agree there with your thoughts on Xavier.
Yeah. All right, so Matt Stafford comes off the board. Justin Herbert off the board. You took your guy Corley. Update on our like goal, guys. We got a like goal of 65. If we reach 65, we'll do another mock for you. So if you want to keep this party going, go ahead and smash that like button. We're only 14 likes away right now from our goal of 65. So be a friend. If you want to get this party rolling, another mock draft, maybe you'll get a chance to join us. Then go ahead and smash that like button. Let's get to 65 likes. If we can, then we will absolutely do another mock. Here. So you took Tyler Boyd. What do you think about that Titans offense?
Look, I think it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins before the injury. With the injury, I think it really opens it up now to, at least in my opinion, more towards in favor of Calvin Ridley. But if DeAndre Hopkins is going to be dealing with this knee injury throughout the first week, second week, and maybe throughout the whole season because he is an older wide receiver. Tyler Boyd can definitely step up into an offense he's already familiar with. Keep in mind, the head coach comes from the Cincinnati Bengals, where Tyler Boyd just came from. So there's a lot of security and a safety blanket with Tyler Boyd potentially if either Calvin or DeAndre Hopkins miss time. So I guess it's an upside play in if one of those guys gets injured.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Roman Wilson comes off the board. He was dealing with an injury. Reports are he's back at camp. I guess we'll have to monitor that as we go.
Yeah.
And, man, I mean, with my last pick here, I don't want to go another tight end, but
there's somebody getting talked up in camp there.
I'm just going to grab Cole Kmet as another option. I mean, what if the Bears offense is actually good, right? All right, so did we reach our light goal of 65? Let's see. Where are we at right now? We are at 57. So we are just 8 likes away from our goal. If you guys want to see us do another mock draft, go ahead and smash that like button. Let's get to 65. If we reach that goal, we will totally do another mock for you. In the meantime, we'll give it about 5 minutes. All right, we'll put 5 minutes on the timer. If we can reach that like goal in 5 minutes, we'll stay on. If not, we got a lot of planning to do for you guys this week. But let's catch up with the chat while we're waiting for that 5 minutes, okay? Vikes for Life says, my team is a start 7. Is this good? Jalen Hurts, Kyron, Jacobs, Amon-Ra, Christian Kirk, Kittle, Zamir, Mostert. Yeah, that's a very good team. Absolutely.
Yeah,
very good team. You've got the good tight end. You've got an elite quarterback. So I'm a fan of that move for sure. Darth says, thoughts on me taking Keenan and Rome in this mock? Feel like Keenan is a wide receiver 2 right now, but should get injured. If he gets injured, Rome just proves to be the better player. You have both. I don't mind it, but
yeah, I don't mind me either.
I'm not obsessed with the idea of the safety that early in the draft. Do you know what I mean?
If I'm going to be doing something like that, I'll probably take it would be DJ Moore and then one of these wide receivers.
Right.
Because I feel like I already know. I feel like I feel safe with what I understand of what DJ Moore is going to be producing. And then if he does get injured, then at least I have either the 2 or the 3 that steps up into that place with.
So I don't mind taking Keenan or Rome Odunze as late as you got them, but I just don't like the idea of betting on 2 of the guys that I think will be the number 2 at best, right? So I just want to spread my seed a little bit more, right? All right, so
spread your seed. Shout out delivery man.
For real, I as crazy as it sounds, I'd rather take a Keon in that situation. Just range of outcomes, different offenses. I just think I'd rather go in a different direction there myself.
I agree.
But I don't think the prices are bad where you got them whatsoever. I think the prices are actually not bad. But it's just I don't like the idea of investing too heavily in one wide receiver room. Limits the outcome, I'd say. Monty Booch, I guess the people overall, they just want an update. What are your thoughts on Quentin Johnson at this moment?
I feel like ever since I got back, it was about Quentin. Look,
and I think it's just because the reports have been pretty bad.
The reports have been bad. It's 12-8. I took him at the 12-8 here. Some people probably feel more confident taking Mooney, Michael Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Demario Doug, all these players that went after him. Sure. But Quentin Johnson is still paired up with an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert. And if he does get whatever playing time that I'm hoping and believing, maybe that is 70% of the snap share, that is a good opportunity for Quentin Johnson. And I truly believe he is a wide receiver 2 to 3 on this team behind either Lam McConkey and I will say Josh Palmer. I think Josh Palmer does have the up with the reports. But Quentin Johnson has the opportunity to score fantasy points, especially at his price. And this is high for me. This is high, not high for me, excuse me. This is high for our community. No one's taking Quentin Johnson.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like I'm only in on Quentin if he's a 15th round pick. That's where I think you and I see it a little differently. I'd rather go Mitchell as the unknown rookie, Dotson with Jaden Daniels showing up, Wan'Dale Robinson if he can stay healthy. I feel like
that's
his ADP needs to drop. He was already a value, but I think his ADP needs to drastically drop again.
Sure, which means he'll go undrafted. And if he gets to that point, I'm picking up. I would just pick up Quentin Johnston in the waiver wires. Like if that's gonna happen, the majority of your leagues, I'm happy to do that every single. Like just pick up Quentin Johnston and put him on my team for the first 3 weeks. And if it's not there, then I'm happy to drop him. But he's not the guy that I was hoping him to be. Right?
Sure.
I know it's
Sure.
Yeah. You know.
All right, we have not reached the 65 like goal. Again, there's still a couple minutes for us to reach that goal, so do us a favor, hit that like button if you want to see another mock draft. All we need is 6 more likes to get to that goal. But let's keep answering some of your questions, a little Q&A action here. Thoughts on DeAndre Swift? I took him here at the 712. The only reason I'm even interested in taking him here is because he was available that late. I'm not obsessed with the player. I'm not obsessed with the situation. I do personally think that it won't be like a one-man show in Chicago. I think Khalil Herbert will get some work. I think Rashawn Johnson will get some work. But if this offense is good, like think about it. If this is this year's Texans offense, then Devin Singletary was a very good pick, or not good pick, but a great waiver wire pickup last year. And, you know, I think they fit a similar role for an offense that might be better than we anticipate. So overall, I feel like the best way to describe it is like I'm just nonchalant about it. I just like, yeah, he's an option.
Yeah, I would agree. It's an option. I'd say there's upside with DeAndre Swift with the passing opportunity if he's going to be utilized like we saw in past, whether with the Lions or with the Eagles. But if he gets a lot of those dump off opportunities, that is huge for DeAndre Swift, especially at his ADP at the 712. I'm not sure what's that makes him RB. If I'm not mistaken, Ramondre Stevenson was RB 20.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4,
25.
5. So RB 25. I don't think that's bad. I think that's a good value there for DeAndre Swift, and he can easily return that and be within like, you know, the low teens, 19, 18, 17 finish. I think that's good value.
All right. Sunraker said, what's your take on taking both running backs from one team? For example, Monty and Gibbs, Brown and Moss. I think for me, it all comes down to price, right? So like last year, David Montgomery wasn't my guy for me. All right. He was one of those 5 guys that I stamped my name on. Was a huge David Montgomery guy last year. This year, though, I think there was enough trends for me at least to like not be excited about having both of those names. I personally believe that Gibbs' role will grow, and more specifically, the goal line role will be different because second half of the season, you saw Gibbs, his goal line share went up through the roof second half of the year. First half of the year, like it was Montgomery's backfield on the goal line. It's like you're inside the 10, you're inside the 5. Montgomery's about to pound the ball into the end zone.
Sure.
I think we saw trends to suggest that won't be the case in 2024 if Gibbs is healthy. So to me, it's all about price, right? We talked about Chase Brown. We talked about Zach Moss. Any one of those guys could be the guy. The highest you have to draft them is round 8, 9, 10. Totally fine with that, right? But if I get Gibbs in the first round, I'm probably not going to target Montgomery. Where does he go? Round 5 or 6? That's too high for me. So I still like Monty, but I don't think his ADP has fallen to where I would want it to be this year, personally.
Where would you want it to be? Because I think if I look at David Montgomery and I'm seeing, like, I would personally take Ramondre Stevenson, I think at this moment, over David Montgomery. But everyone that's after him, I feel like he could outperform him. I think he can outperform Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Zamir White, DeAndre Swift. Like, that's how I feel. So I would take Monty over.
Brooks is very unique because you're not drafting Brooks to play in week 1, right? I think
sure,
like if I was to tell you like from week 5 onwards, would I rather have Brooks or David Montgomery? It's like very easily Jonathan Brooks for me. But
sure.
Like for example, Zamir White, who went in the 7th round. At the moment, I would rather have Zamir White. Yes, clearly Montgomery's on the better offense, but I think Zamir White will average somewhere around 20 touches per game. That's what I'm projecting. I'm actually projecting 18.8 touches per game. But I'd rather have Zamir White. He's a cheaper option. Aaron Jones is someone I would personally rather have as well. He goes almost an entire round later. With Aaron Jones, I feel like he is the clear number 1 guy in Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota is going to have a bad offense. And if Aaron Jones can stay healthy, I do think he outproduces David Montgomery this year. Raheem Mostert, another name that I think I would put in the same category as David Montgomery this year. If you think about it, they're probably playing a similar role, right? So yeah, it's all about price, I think is the best way to answer that question. All about price. Like for example, another backfield is the Dallas backfield, right? Zeke goes in the 10th round here. I think you took Dowdle in the 11th round. Great, right? Like take a shot on a running back in a good offense.
Yeah.
Don't know who it's going to be. Take a shot on a good offense with a guy who could be, you know, a steal at ADP. So yeah, all comes down to price for me. But the good news is, Badaki, we did reach our like goal, so we can pop off a second mock draft. Can you tell the people how they can join this second mock draft if they'd like to?
Yeah, absolutely. Join our Discord. That link is going to be in the description, and I'll put that link in the chat here as well for you guys. Join that Discord. Go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs, then go to announcements. That's exactly how you can join each and every mock draft. It is first come, first serve. And once I get that link to this mock draft, I will send that link out to you guys in that tab under announcements. So I'm going to open this up and pick a spot.
Yeah, again, like Badaki said, under the Fantasyland tab, announcements, that's where this link is going to get sent. It is first come, first serve. We cannot determine who gets in.
Yeah, and once Zach picks a spot,
yeah, I'm in.
Then I'll send out the link. 3, 2, 1. That link is out, and you can join that bad boy.
All right, so we will do the same format here. One quarterback, PPR, tight end let's leave tight end premium off it again. And this is a start 9 league. Okay. So one quarterback, PPR, start 9. It looks like we still have some spots left, which is very, very rare at this point of the year. So again, if you guys want to join, get into that Discord.
Yeah, come through.
Let's tag at our people here. Still got 3 spots, so we'll get that in. Steven says, ready to snipe some savage picks on the turnbacks. All right. It's good to have you, Steven. It's good to have you here. What's up, Tim? Welcome in, my man. Welcome in. It's good to have you here.
How you doing, man?
Michael says, play off the goal line carries all went to Monty. Yeah. It will be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm not saying, by the way, Montgomery's a bad pick at all.
I love Monty this year, but yes, it's going to be it's going to be mixed up a little bit more than what we expected last year. But I think he's still a good value to me.
To me, like, I don't know, like, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but why are Mostert and Montgomery not similar ADPs? Right? 2 really talented rookies that balled out on great offenses, but those guys' roles should grow. I feel like personally they should be closer in ADP than they are. And I guess people's argument will be age, but I guarantee you Montgomery has more touches in his career than like, can someone look this up for me in the comments? I feel like very confident in saying this, that Montgomery has more career touches than Raheem Mostert.
I would back that. I just think there's I think there's age, but I also think of the role that we saw from Monty and the bigger role that Devon Achane is going to be playing. We saw already limited role.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how is that different at all? I don't see how that's different.
Because I think David Montgomery's role is pretty secure, where I think the expectation, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, I think the expectation is that Devon's role will grow even bigger than what we saw. Because what was his, he missed how many games? 8 games? Jahmyr Gibbs missed 2.
Somewhere
so
yes,
I don't know. I think that's what the community is going to be thinking.
I guess if you had to, okay, so here's where I'm confused. If you had to like say, all right, who were the top 5 running backs last year? I'm not going to say who were the most valuable, but who had the top 5 season? Like Mostert's there. Like just purely as like what he did as a running back, he's there. I'm going to take him on right here at the 105. But anyway, interesting conversation, right? Interesting conversation. Michael says Monty has almost double the amount of carries compared to Mostert. So that's where people always get tripped up. They get tripped up on the age. And like, if you look at career touches and like wear and tear, I don't think Mostert has as much wear and tear as people think he does. You're on the clock here at the 108. Bijan and Breece both went off the board. What are you thinking now?
I was hoping for Breece there. I'm not huge on Justin Jefferson. I think I'm a complete avoid on JJ this year. So that makes me pivot, and I'm gonna go AJ Brown. I just can't buy into Justin Jefferson and him returning
Okay.
a wide receiver. What, 5 or 6 this year?
I do
1, 2,
personally
3,
have
4,
Jefferson ahead of AJ
5.
Brown.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand the concern. I totally
Yeah,
understand the concern.
just not as confident in JJ. I think I'd rather go with the security at the quarterback play and understanding what this is going to look like. Sam Darnold has to really ball out. And if Sam Darnold balls out, when does JJ come in? And if Sam Darnold is not balling out, what is JJ doing, Justin Jefferson specifically, with Sam Darnold?
Holy moly. I just realized, okay, you guys are way too harsh on Jefferson, though. We just saw Wilson go ahead of Jefferson.
Yeah.
If I knew I could get Jefferson at the 110, I would lock that in every mock. Every league if I was at the 110. But I totally get the concern. Like, I definitely get where you're coming from. Like, Sam Darnold's never been able to produce a good receiver for fantasy football. And we don't know if J.J. McCarthy can do that. But I think the difference is I trust Kevin O'Connell. He is really smart in the ways that he schemes up Jefferson just to, like, automatically get the ball. So I think that's where I actually trust Jefferson a little bit more than you maybe, is just I trust the offense that he's in. I trust the coach that he's attached to a little bit more myself. So we see Joel go Breece Hall, Travis Etienne. You went AJ Brown in London. So a wide receiver heavy start there, I'd say.
Switching it up there for sure. And then you get Devontae Adams. Now you're on the clock, having Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 105.
This is absolutely perfect. Exactly the way I wanted to start this. Like I said, where you're on the draft board is going to determine what strategy you should pursue. And of course, like your format, how many starters, that kind of thing. But I love the anchor round 2 in a 12-man PPR start 9. So I'm going to take Derrick Henry as my RB1 in the second round. I think he has a chance to lead this league in rushing touchdowns this year. I would not be surprised if that is his outcome. But we get an elite wide receiver in round 1, a running back with top 5 upside in round 2, and let's see how the rest of the draft falls to us there.
Yeah, not bad. I thought maybe, I'm not sure where you're at on Devon. Obviously it's been a while, but I thought you might go Devon there over Henry. But unless they're in the same tier,
I've kind of been the opposite, man. I feel like I was this way before you left on holiday, but I've been team Raheem Mostert based off of both of their prices. Like, obviously, if I was to choose one, I would choose Devon Achane this year.
I guess.
But based off their prices, talking about it. I've been consistently saying Raheem Mostert is a better value in that backfield. You get him 60 picks later, 6.5 rounds later. I can't justify taking Devon Achane that early.
Yeah, I think we were both on the same page in a dynasty perspective. I guess I didn't get what your thoughts were on redraft. But that's good, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think because he has an ADP of round 2, I just can't stomach it. Like, if he was like round 4, where we saw the Rachaad Whites of the world go off the board, or like round 5, where Mixon and Kamara, I think it'd be easier to stomach. But I can recognize the insane ceiling he has. I can totally recognize that. But I'm not willing to spend a second-round pick on Devon Achane, which is where his ADP currently lies. I'd much rather wait. Now, typically, we get people in our mock drafts taking Raheem Mostert earlier than ADP suggests because I love him. But I'd much rather take Raheem Mostert in round 8, which is his ADP, than Achane in round 2.
Okay. Makes sense. So he goes there at the 3-2, which makes him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 off the board there.
Which is lower than ADP. Like, he went lower than ADP here. And like I said, if you're betting on Devon Achane, you're just betting on like this unattainable ceiling from any other player in that range. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, in reality, Devon Achane has a much higher ceiling than Mike Evans, Ayuk, Diggs, right? Like, his range of outcomes is higher. It's just that floor is a little too wobbly for me. Yeah, but we're gonna happily take Debo here as our wide receiver 2. I couldn't have asked for a better start for me, for what I'm trying to do in this draft. So
for what
I feel very, very good about that. Catching up with the chat. Mr. Trey Cinco says, help me out here. Just found out that I got the number 1 pick and a half PPR. I know I have to go CMC, but the homer in me wants to take Tyreek Hill. Am I crazy? You're not crazy. I think the reality is CeeDee Lamb, CMC, Tyreek Hill. You can make an argument from any of those guys being the number 1 pick. But if it was me, I would be going CMC and a half PPR.
Yeah, I'm going CMC all day there, no question. I think they're both great. I don't think there's a wrong answer there, but for me, it's CMC. I wouldn't be telling you, my goodness, why'd you take Tyreek Hill, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Malik Neighbors off the board at the 309. How you feeling about Malik Neighbors? I know you're a Giants fan.
Oh my gosh, brother. I cannot wait. I might get a Neighbors jersey. Nah. Look, it's exciting. I am a little bit concerned with the hype right now. I feel like it's falling into place so well. Every single highlight in camp is exactly what you want to see. I actually don't remember a top receiver that got taken so high that is getting so much hype. Like, I don't remember JJ getting the hype, or I don't remember getting like CeeDee Lamb getting the hype. I don't Jamar Chase. I don't remember how big this hype is with Malik Neighbors, which is a little bit concerning to me. Not because I believe he's going to fail. It's just going to make, if he does fail, even like the whole situation much more worse. You know.
Well, yeah, Jefferson wasn't drafted top 10 or top 6 or anything. I think the last time, well, even if you think about Jamar Chase, like Jamar Chase in camp,
we're struggling. Like it doesn't even have to be a top 10 guy. Like, think of first round wide receivers. You think of like Devonta Smith, the Jalen Waddles. Like, you think of those guys, and they weren't getting nowhere near the hype as Malik Neighbors. I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm scared. That's what I'll say.
I get that. I definitely get that. It is, New York media as well. That definitely would play a big part. You know, it's the media central of the world. So,
yeah.
Did you watch all of Hard Knocks yet?
I haven't watched the last episode. That was the last episodes when I was traveling back, so I didn't get to see it. But I have seen the majority of it. I liked it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I thought episode 3 was one of the best Hard Knocks episodes I've ever seen, where they talked about free agent, and they walked through that process of how they, look at the roster, what they need, how much money they have. I thought it was awesome.
I think it was great.
What are you thinking here at this pick?
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple different options. I feel like I need to lock up a running back here. I'll take Joe Money Bags right here for me. So two wide receivers, 2 running backs. I was thinking about Tank Dell, but I know at the 5A I could probably get someone that I'm confident in.
Yeah, Mixon at the 405. I'm not anti-Mixon this year at all. Where is his ADP? Is it 4th or 5th round?
Let's see. I think it's 4th round.
Debo comes off the board.
Or T. Higgins comes off the board. Now you took Debo to 3-5. Now you're on the board.
I am going to go ahead and grab George Pickens. I'll happily take Pickens here at the 408. Vike says, who are your my guys this year? I can't say. And the reason I can't say is because there'll be a video out soon. Okay? There'll be a video out soon where I talk about my guys. So I want to tell you. I desperately want to tell you who my guys are. Trust me. I mean, once that video is out, I'll be so annoying. I probably won't stop talking about them. But I got to wait for that video to come out first.
I'm excited for it. Keen on the My Guys. It's always a good time of year, the My Guys video. You really put your stamp on those players, and that's where you really start to see yourself taking those guys all the time. You might already see the guys like, Zach's My Guys all the time. You just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, if you watch all of our mock drafts, then you probably already know who my guys are, to be honest. It's, they're probably already on my team, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, so we get a nice little run here. Tank Dell, T. Higgins, you go George Pickens, Alvin Kamara at the 4-9. I wanted to take a chance and potentially not take a running back, but I just knew that if I didn't take Joe Mixon, I knew Alvin Kamara was not going to come back to me.
Yeah.
So then Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Zay Flowers, Trey McBride, and then Kenneth Walker there. It's not too bad.
Darce on auto. He's active, but he's on auto. So just to let him know if he doesn't want to get auto picked here. Zach says Zach definitely has Henry and Badaki has Mixon. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
There's one
Joel
guy.
says-
It was like,
Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was gonna say there is definitely one guy that I instantly like. I released a video and I was like, he's a my guy. I said it in that video. I was like, this is a my guy this year.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a guy out there that's my guy that you guys should already know.
Yeah. Brandon says Pickens wouldn't have made it past him, and then Joel said you never had a chance at Pickens, Brandon. That's Zach's auto draft. I do find myself drafting a lot of Pickens, but man, look at the ADP difference. Aaron Jones in round 5 this time around. He was in round 7 pick last time. And very, very rarely are you ever going to see me take a quarterback this early. But I cannot leave Josh Allen on the board in the 5th round. And I don't think this is an accurate representation of what home leagues will look like. I think Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes, those guys will go round 2, early round 3. But if you guys are going to let me get Josh Allen at the 505, I will happily oblige. Okay?
It happens every year.
Yeah.
Where when you get into your home league, you're like, holy shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, oh boy, okay, they're falling. Sure, damn. Mark and Dalton Kincaid go back to back. I was hoping for one of the 2 tight ends. I thought they were great value there in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was probably going to go one of those tight ends if those elite quarterbacks weren't available.
Okay.
Yeah, Evie, I remember that report. Zach says as a Giants fan, Hard Knocks was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I loved it.
Michael says, interesting note about Achane. Even when Mostert was out the last 2 weeks, he still only saw 55% of the snaps, with Jeff Wilson getting about 50% himself. Miami knows he's too valuable to lose. I mean, that is what Miami needs to figure out. They need to figure out how to win in the postseason. They know how to win in the regular season. They need to be as healthy as possible in the postseason. So that is not a bad point at all.
Yeah.
David says, in a 10-team PPR league with 3 flex spots, would you recommend to start wide receiver heavy? Depends on where you're on the draft board, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I would still say in a 10-team, that's a smaller league. So I think running backs are still going to be potentially an option there, you know. But of course, if you're at like the 110 and you have Tyreek Hill available to you, of course I'm going to go Tyreek Hill, right? But if you're at the 110 and it's like Breece Hall, Bijan's there, well, we got to consider that in your format.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Rohit says, I listened to your advice and traded away all of my picks at the 101 to get all the picks at the 109, but I retained the 701 in a 14-man league. That's awesome. That's great.
That's great.
So you got an extra 7th round pick, and all you did is move from the 101 to the 109, which means, yeah, you won't have the first pick, but you'll have the 9th pick, and you'll have the 204 or whatever that is in the 14-man league.
Yeah. I think that's great. Okay, where can I go?
Brandon says, what is too high for Rashee Rice? I think anything earlier than the 5th round feels too high.
Yeah, I was gonna say his ADP is probably right where it needs to be currently.
Yeah,
I took him here at the 5'8". Let me see where he went in the last one. Last one he went at the 5'9". So our first mock draft of the day. So I am okay with that price with Richie Rich, I like to call him.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's priced well right now. Not too affordable, not too expensive. Right in that sweet spot is what I'd say.
Okay, I didn't get my tight end, Mark Andrews or Dalton Kincaid, but I never draft this guy, and he's on my team now. That's Kyle Pitts. Shout out to Pity City. I got 2 Atlanta Falcons because I got Drake London, and Kyle Pitts. So hopefully that works out for me.
I mean, I'm jealous. You know, I'm a Kyle Pitts guy. All right, so we've got some options here as our pick is about to come up at the 608. Keenan Allen goes at the 606. And let's see what options we might have. CJ Stroud goes. That's great. We're going to grab Deontay Johnson here at the 608 as our wide receiver 4. We're filling out those flex spots, trying to win the flex, if you will, even though we still got Josh Allen, which is crazy. I promise you this will probably be the only mock draft you guys see this year where I go quarterback in the first 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I doubt it will happen again.
All right, 3 running backs there for Darth. Darth is in our Alpha League, if I'm not mistaken. So I gotta be taking notes. Actually, let me find out he's in the 4 spot. Let me go look it up.
4 spot? That would be interesting.
I'm about to go find out right now. Hold on.
We got a little intel here.
Oh yeah. He is not at the 4 spot. He's the 9 spot. Okay.
Damn.
Just got to remember that for the future. All right, Swifty, and then George Kittle, and then Swifty off the board there. Anthony Richardson getting some hype at camp too, at least today. Apparently threw a nice touchdown to Michael Pittman.
Yeah, for him it's all about the consistency. Can he be consistent? That's really the question. We know if he's healthy with his rushing upside, I mean he could lead the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, no question.
That's how talented he is. McConkey definitely was a target of mine. We do miss out.
All right, you're on the clock here.
We are going to go ahead. We will go ahead and grab Raheem Mostert. We won't let him fall further than this. We'll grab Raheem the Dream as our RB2 in the 7th round. There goes Jonathan Brooks. Released a video today. Jonathan Brooks was on that video. I think we need, if you're drafting Jonathan Brooks, you have to draft him with the expectation that you won't use him for the first 4 or 5 weeks of your fantasy season. But ideally, if they are going to put him on the pup, Jonathan Brooks is the guy you stash on your IR. You go to the waiver wire, you pick up someone else, you wait for Jonathan Brooks to be healthy.
Yeah.
And the idea with him is, let's say, week 7 onwards, week 6 onwards, that's a guy that you can start consistently, a guy that has special upside because of how talented he is as a rookie. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Jonathan Brooks pick there at the 707.
Yeah, I love Jay Brooks here. I mean, and also his coach said he actually won't start until week 3 or 4. So,
well,
I think that we have clarity. I mean, obviously anything can happen.
The interview actually went a little bit like this. They said, so you don't expect him to start in the first 3 or 4 weeks? And he said, no. Another reporter followed up and just pried a little bit more. He said, but if he's ready, do you think it's a chance he could? And he said, yes, absolutely. He said, if he's ready, I'm not going to limit him and say that he can't start week 1. So coach was like very specific on that. Hey, whatever the player feels, we'll rock with that. So,
yeah.
So he didn't roll out start week 1. I think we should have the expectations, like you mentioned, of week 3 or 4.
Yeah, week 3 to 4. Okay. I was hoping for literally one of those 3 wide receivers to come back to me. Brian Thomas, D Hop, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Doesn't go my way, unfortunately. I'm gonna rock with the rookie then. Take Roma Dunze here at the 8-5.
All right, Roma Dunze off the board there. Tony Pollard off the board there. That's the first snipe of today. I think I'm in on Javonte. All I need to know was that he was the guy. And it sounds like all indications should be the guy there. So that makes my pick a lot more difficult. But we are going to go ahead and rock with Gus Edwards here. Gus will be our RB3 on this offense, and he will be a flex option for us as well.
All right. Yeah, Curtis Samuel is nice. I was contemplating Curtis Samuel there at the 8-9. Roma Dunze. I've never drafted Roma Dunze in a redraft league. I'll be honest with y'all. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not jumping for joy.
You are, to be fair, one Keenan Allen injury away of being very, very excited.
Yes, I definitely understand.
So,
but I'm hoping for Keenan Allen to get injured or somebody.
All right. So Warren Spears off the board. I really like Tajay Spears as a pick this year. There goes David Njoku, Tyler Algier. And that's perfect. I read the board there. I need a tight end, and I said, okay, Darth already has one. Evie already has one. The only person who didn't have a tight end was Steel Mob. There was 2 tight ends that I liked, as long as no one did anything ridiculous like taking 2 tight ends this early. I knew Jake Ferguson or David Njoku would come back to me. So we'll take Jake Ferguson here at the 905 as our tight end 1. You mentioned this, Badaki, in a video. He was leading the league in targets in the red zone. Is that right? Inside the 20-yard line?
Yeah, inside the 20-yard line.
And they didn't add anyone to compete with CeeDee Lamb or Jake Ferguson. So I think Ferguson is a sleeping giant.
I think so as well. And I kind of mentioned this. We kind of spoke about it in person, actually. But I am a little bit concerned about CeeDee Lamb if he's not at camp. He hasn't.
Sure.
I don't know if those things have progressed in talks when it comes down to camp, but I know the position is different, but I think of Josh Jacobs and how he wasn't playing and getting work last year, and it was a really slow start.
Yeah.
Could that be the same thing with CeeDee Lamb, where he's maybe not in football shape, or he's maybe not getting just the basic reps he's supposed to be getting with Dak Prescott? Not saying that you shouldn't be taking him with the 101 or the 102. Just if that deal is not done and it's a week before week 1.
Well, that reminds me of Josh Jacobs. I think you mentioned that before, but you're right. Like, if it's that timeline, I think I will reassess. I think if it's literally like we're a week before the season, now CeeDee Lamb's joining, okay. But
yeah,
let's say if they sign it in the next week or something, I won't be concerned. So
yeah, I will not be concerned. I agree, and it will be interesting because if that is the case, I think there's going to be a lot of lenience on Jake Ferguson, and what I mean in production, because maybe CeeDee Lamb is not 100%, and the same thing with potentially Brandon Cooks. So that will be very exciting in that perspective.
Yeah. Zach says, for me, taking a top quarterback this year isn't worth it. I feel like there's 8 quarterbacks that have a shot at quarterback 1. Overall, I feel the same. But like I said, if you're going to give me a top 3 quarterback in round 5, then yeah, I will go ahead and take advantage of that. But overall, like I said, I think this is the first mock you will see, and maybe the last you'll see me taking a quarterback in the first 5 rounds, because I agree with that overall thought process. Love the Jerome Ford pick. Was hoping he might fall to me.
Yeah, you know how I feel about Jerome Ford. I'm not seeing Nick Chubb really coming back anytime soon. And Jerome Ford's going to be leading this backfield.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. And we're going to take Chase Brown here, man. We'll take Chase Brown at the 10:08.
Downtown, baby.
Honestly, I will take, at this point, unless we get more clarity on their roles, I'll take whoever's the cheapest. Whoever's the cheapest option, I'll take him.
Zach Moss there at the 8-4. 2 rounds later for Chase Brown. And this is kind of what I was talking about. Like, Chase Brown, I think there's going to be a 50-50 workload or 60-40. Chase Brown more in favor of those pass catching opportunities. I know the pass blocking has been a little bit of an issue, but if he's running with the ones now, maybe there has been improvements. Maybe there's been a little bit more of a, trust in Chase Brown in that role. So I'm excited about it.
Well, here's the other way you could spin it, because I think you honestly, in my opinion, I think you can spin these narratives however you want to fit what you want them to be to you. I don't know if that makes sense, but let me explain, right? Okay, so Chase Brown is running with the ones. Well, first off, we now know that also Zach Moss is running with the ones. That's important context. They're both running with the ones. That's important for us to know. But what are we trying to focus on in training camp? Where can we be better? So wouldn't they want to see what Chase Brown can do in pass protection if they already know Zach Moss can? So I think you can spin it however you want to. Well, when they actually need to pass protect, it'll be Zach Moss because he's good at it. He's one of the best in the league at it. I think that's why I'm saying this. I just feel like any narrative you want to spin, I think you can spin it to fit how you want it to look.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'll also take Brandon Cooks here. I'll take another Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, nice. Nice with Brandon
You get what I'm
Cooks.
saying though? Like if you're
know,
a Chase
I
Brown
think,
guy, you're reading the headlines and you're like, awesome, Chase Brown's the RB1. It's like, well, hold on. All right, because we know now, based off a beat reporter that replied to me, they're both taking reps with the ones. It's not just Chase,
I think,
it's Zach.
but the
If you're a
way
Zach Moss
I've
guy, you're like, well, we know how good Zach Moss is in protection. They are going to need for him not to be the guy in camp so they can see if Chase Brown can do that.
I think, like, based off of what you're saying there, my expectation coming in was that Zach Moss should already be running with the ones. Like, I shouldn't be surprised that Zach Moss is like, oh, he's running with the ones. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Like, no, Zach Moss has always been number one because of the money that he got, and like we always said, like he's come in and he's played a big role last year. So I think.
But you're a Chase Brown guy, so that's how you're spinning your narrative. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I just told you the opposite side of it, and it doesn't sound like you like that type of narrative.
No, but it's not that I don't like the narratives. It's that Zach Moss. It shouldn't be a surprise that Zach Moss is running with the ones. It should be a surprise that Chase Brown is running with the ones.
Right, but what I'm trying to explain to you is nobody is reporting that also Zach Moss is running with the ones. And the report is not Chase Brown is running with the ones, Zach Moss is running with the twos. That's not the report, but that is what everyone is running with.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. I guess. Yeah. I guess there's really three ways you can see it, but yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
I hear
that. What's up, Christopher? Thank you for the super chat, my man. We'll prioritize that question here. He says, what do you guys think about Ricky Pearsall? He's my number one sleeper. His potential is massive. I think I speak for both of us when I say he's someone that we really loved in dynasty drafts this year, dynasty rookie drafts specifically. However, we have very little to no expectations year one. Unless a trade happens this preseason where Debo gets moved or Ayuk gets moved, then I would say I have very little to no expectations this year. I don't think that there is anything Ricky Pearsall can do to overtake Ayuk or Debo. Like, if they're both healthy, I genuinely don't think there's anything he can do to overtake those names. So if you think about CMC, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, at best, you're the fifth option on a very good offense. But if you think about it, Ayuk only had 103 targets last year, and he was one of the best receivers in the league. So what is Pearsall, if this team stays healthy and in the same shape, what is Pearsall's upside this year? What is it 50 targets? You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Ricky Pearsall's a long-term play, and we kind of were preaching that once he got drafted to the 49ers. And, you know, if you're a Ricky Pearsall believer, you have to hope and believe that either Debo or Brandon Ayuk is no longer on this team next year. Because if Brandon Ayuk gets a long-term contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers, and then Debo is still on this team for 2025, Ricky Pearsall's value is going to plummet like crazy, most likely, going into the 25 season, which we will have a new conversation. Or what if Debo Samuel gets extended that with a team-friendly deal? Like, does he move to another team at the age of 30, potentially in 2026?
Well, I was going to say this, like, if Ayuk signs a long-term deal this offseason, that's pretty difficult to think about for Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky Pearsall, yeah.
But he's so talented. There's a reason they took him round one. This is what I will say, like, I don't know, I can't say very rarely, but typically you would hope that a franchise has a plan when they make their draft picks. So you wouldn't look at the Niners and say they need a receiver, right? So they draft one in round one. Does that mean they're going to... Surely the next step is they have to move one of those names, right? Otherwise, like, what are we doing?
Well, that's the thing, and you have to think about it with Debo. Like, Debo wasn't healthy his first 2 years, and then he broke out his third year. If I'm not mistaken, Brandon Ayuk was also very similar. Struggled with injuries, and then he had a massive season. He
was actually really good as a rookie, and then he got put in the doghouse. Yeah, he was very good as a rookie.
He got put in the doghouse because of the drops.
In year two.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so like, I think they do have a plan for Ricky. We just don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Could be exciting for Ricky Pearsall. I have a lot of Ricky Pearsall.
Love the player. Just hard to project a ceiling at this point. But I appreciate the super chat, Christopher. All right,
Yeah,
I
thank you
waited
so much.
3 rounds. I kept thinking about Ty Chandler for 3 rounds. I'll take him there at the 1305.
Okay.
Kind of am obsessed with this team, not going to lie. Kind of obsessed with what we were able to build here. Our starting lineup has Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert, Amon-Ra, Debo, Ferguson, Pickens, Deontay, Gus Edwards. Kind of really loving that team right there.
He's feeling himself.
You go Wandale and Dotson, 2 guys that we like. 2 guys that could revive their career, talented players.
Come on. There's a revitalization here around 12 and around 13.
Exactly.
Gosh.
What are your expectations for the Giants this year? How many wins do you want?
That's a really tough question because there's part of me that doesn't want them to be good because we can just pivot to a new quarterback. But at the same time, I know the projected quarterback coming into 25 at the moment doesn't look exciting.
Yeah.
So I would say like what I'm hoping for. I'm expecting us to be a bad team, but a more explosive offense, if that makes any sense. So, right, maybe 6-11, 5-12, something along those lines. Because if we are just again a bad team that can't score with no talent, it's like just give me the 1-on-1, please.
Yeah,
like just get us to the number 1 draft pick so we can do something.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, with Washington, I'm a Chiefs and a Commanders fan. I feel like with Washington, it's like the first time in a long time I've actually been like, all right, like I actually want us to do as well as we possibly can. It's the first time I've been like, I'm not thinking about a draft pick. I like our staff. I like the players we have. I like our rookie quarterback. I actually am okay if if we just start winning a bunch of games. Like if we go mediocre this year, that's great. If we win 7 games, I'm like, hell yeah. Let's go. Like the signs are pointing up. It's no longer like we won 7 games and we're starting Taylor Heineke. It's like, hey, this is actually exciting now.
Yeah, and that's another reason why it's going to be tough for the Giants. Normally you would have like one freebie here and there with Washington, but now it's like, Washington is, even though you have a rookie quarterback, you can't take it lightly anymore.
No. And our defense is much better this year than people realize. With Dan Quinn involved, the people he brought over from Dallas. And I still think Bobby Wagner is one of like the top 15 linebackers in the NFL. We didn't have that last year. So with Wagner, with Luvu, I mean, I think our team's going to be decent. All right, we will transition this into a Q&A to end. So drop your questions in the chat. Super chats will get prioritized. So if you want your question to be answered straight away, drop a super chat. You can see Chris just did that, as well as Cam. So if you want to get a question in, drop a super chat. Otherwise, we will go just in order from top to bottom from here on out to end the stream with a Q&A. Okay, so
appreciate you, Cam.
Everybody
Thank you so much
for mock drafting with us. That was very fun. Hopefully that was helpful if you're on ESPN and also if you're on Sleeper. So let's get into the Q&A section here. We got Cam with the super chat. Thank you, man. He says, kept JJ and Amon-Ra for my keeper league. JJ at the 108, Amon-Ra at the 208. So at the 308, go elite tight end available or running back, no question. So I'm assuming because you attached the number, that is the picks that you're giving up, meaning you won't have your 108. You won't have your 208. So the first pick in your draft where you select will be the 308.
Yeah.
And the question I would have to ask you is number 1, what are the other players that are being kept, right? Because ultimately how you should draft, we keep saying this, is dependent on the ADP, on the draft board, on what's available, on what other people already have, on how they will draft. So if you're telling me that at the 308, running back is the clear best option, then yeah, you can go running back. But if you're telling me at the 308, you're deciding between Mark Andrews or Tony Pollard, absolutely, we're going Mark Andrews there.
Yeah. So it just really depends on who's on the board, who's available, who was kept. But yes, in a keeper league, there's so much, I guess, information that we do not know, but that's probably the best answer we can get. You go best player available in that span in a keeper league, because the expectation is that the top 10 running backs are kept. Like the top 10 in almost every position is being kept, whether it's running back, quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end. So you just have to go with best player available at the 3-8, if that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. All right, drop your questions. Like we said, super chats will get answered straight away. While we're waiting on some more questions, we'll let you guys know that if you want our rankings this offseason, if you want a team review by us where we review your team, then become a yearly Mother Flocker member with the Flock Fantasy website with the promo code LAND. I put a direct link in the chat for you. Not only will you get all the premium tools on the website, like our rankings, all the articles, the databases, the draft guides, all that's available on the website. You get our rankings, the trade calculator, the My Teams feature, but you will get a free team review as well when you sign up for a yearly membership with the code LAND. So consider supporting the show and getting an advantage in your leagues. Now, the other thing to consider is if you are already a member, or if you don't want to become a member and you just want to ask a question over there, we now have the store. Okay, so you can see on the Flock Fantasy website in the top right, this little icon here. If you click on that, you can ask us a trade question, a start-sit question. All these features are brand new outside of Team Review, which has been there for a minute. But let's say you had a start-sit question this year, okay? Well, hopefully you can link your league. And once you have linked your league, you can choose whatever team you have. It'll automatically bring up your starting roster. And then you can go ahead and decide how you plan on assigning this team. So let's say you want to start Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence. At running back, you plan on starting Kyren Williams. You plan on starting Ramondre Stevenson, right? CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. At tight end, you're going to go Kittle. This is just an example from one of my dynasty leagues. All right. At the flex spot, you're going to grab A.J. Brown. You're also going to start Chris Olave. And you plan on starting, let's say, Tajay Spears at the flex. Or you can go to continue here. You can see Zach and Badaki here. Donate whatever you like. Enter any information. Hey, what would you do with this is my starting lineup? What would you do? And just hit continue at the bottom right. Same thing as well if you have a trade question that you'd like to ask us, right? Very similar format. But I think that's it for today, maybe.
Yeah, I would just say one thing with that trade, I guess promo that you were just talking about. We will answer that at any point in time.
Yeah.
Right. Like if we are off live stream right now and say, "Damn, I just missed the live stream," all you have to do is go to the Flock Fantasy website, plug in all that information, and we will hopefully get to you as soon as possible. Normally, so I think that's also a really good feature because we get a lot of people that say, "I really need this question answered." Can you help me out? So that's a good opportunity for you guys there as well.
Exactly. If we're online and we're live and you ask a question, just put it, say, hey, I just submitted a question. We'll answer it straight away. If we are offline and we're not live streaming at that moment, then we will absolutely answer it as we're offline for you. No questions asked. All right, we did get another super chat, so we'll just keep going until the super chat stop, but we will end here whenever that happens. We got a lot of content we got to prepare for you guys this week. But I appreciate the love here from Evie with the $20 donation. Very kind. Evie says you can each take one player out of retirement, de-age them into the start of their career, put them on any NFL team, and add them to your Dynasty Superflex team. What player are you taking, and what NFL team are you putting them on? That's an incredible question, by the way.
That is phenomenal.
I have two answers.
Sure, I can give two as well.
My first one would be LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yes, mine was LaDainian Tomlinson, bro. I have the other one would probably be Barry
Sanders. Okay, that's actually a really good call too.
I wanted to think of two positionals, but I had two running backs, and it was Barry and LT. Because LT was going crazy, specifically in a fantasy perspective as well. Just think about that.
Yeah,
bro.
I agree. No, that's a great call too. With LaDainian, he was. I mean, I remember, as a kid drafting in fantasy leagues, and I remember in one of my first fantasy leagues, I drafted LaDainian Tomlinson, like the first 3 or 4 years I played, and the dude carried me to a championship. And of course, we know how freaking good he was his entire career. What team would I place him on? It'd be weird for him not to be a Charger. So I think I'd just put him right back on the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean it's good right now to put him on the Chargers as well. They need a running back, and
I guess
Barry
Barry's
like,
a good question because you shouldn't put him on the Lions right now. It makes no sense with who they have.
It'll be exciting to put like Barry on the Chiefs. That'd be like
cool.
super. That'd be super team though. Who needs a running back? Barry with Buffalo. I know they have James Cook.
Buffalo would be pretty OP.
You want to put him on?
How about the Bengals or the Cowboys, which would be
Barry with the Cowboys
would be an absolute sin. But yeah, he would be perfect fit for the Cowboys right now.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm trying to think of a wide receiver.
My other answer was Megatron. I'd like to bring Megatron back because he's just
that's hot.
He's different
That's hot.
gravy. I mean, you could say Randy Moss, in his prime, but
yeah,
Megatron would be my answer. Where would I put him in the NFL? I mean, geez, I have no idea. Like, I feel like if you put him on the Packers, he instantly becomes the guy for Jordan Love, so that would be fun. Oh, just put him in Buffalo. Just put Megatron in Buffalo. It's game over.
Put him in Buffalo. Yeah. I guess the other guy I would say at the wide receiver position would probably be like Jerry Rice. I've never seen Jerry Rice play. He retired before.
Yeah.
Like I was into football.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. But that's a great question.
That was a very good question, and thank you for the super chat. That's very, very kind of you, Evie. I appreciate you. We got SG in the chat. Big Barry. Big Barry.
Come on, baby. Halfback stretch to the left.
All right, guys. That is it for today. We appreciate you guys big time. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the support, for the super chats, for the likes. I think we'll be live tomorrow. We have to decide if we're gonna go live on the Dynasty or this channel. But we'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Love.